One of the most difficult things in life to do with consistency is to live with the reality of uncertainty. Life is profoundly uncertain. We never know for sure what exactly is going to happen. We question everything. We can't be in possession of all the facts. We can't know everything. There's so much in life that is just going to be uncertain, regardless of how well-informed we try to be, how in control of things we try to be. We just can't control everything. We can't know everything. We can do our best. We can try to be as knowledgeable as possible and as in control of our choices, the things that are legitimately under our control, because there is a great deal of life that is within our ability to control, within our scope of influence. But there's also a lot more that we just can't control. We can't hope to be in full control of everything. And although it's easy to say, just go with the flow, that's often a very difficult thing to put into practice. I know it's incredibly difficult for me. I don't like not being in control. I don't like uncertainty. It drives me a little crazy. But it's also just the reality of life that we have to do our best to be as comfortable with the uncertainty as possible, because otherwise we'll go fully crazy. We might go a little insane just living with a degree of uncertainty, but if we try to control everything, if we can't live with the uncertainty, then we'll go fully insane. We'll just go crazy because when it comes right down to it, we can't control everything. And so that's something that I struggle with. I try to embrace the uncertainty. I try to put my faith in the knowledge that things will work out for the best, and that everything, the way everything plays out is the way that everything is meant to play out. But it's still a very difficult thing. It's much easier to have that attitude than to put it into practice. And it's just the reality of life, though. We have to be comfortable as possible with uncertainty, or the need for certainty can risk destroying us. We will be consumed by the insecurity we feel over not being able to be certain of what's happening, why everything is happening. We just have to let go to an extent, but also recognize the things that are within our scope of control, because I would say 55% of life, maybe 60%, is within our ability to control. It is determined by the choices we make. But there is also the remaining amount of life that just is not fully within our control. We are not omnipotent, and although some people try to micromanage everything, they try to control all of life, it just never works, and they tend to wind up going crazy. I mean, maybe not literally crazy, but they drive themselves a little crazy and make themselves miserable. They make themselves miserable, and I'm guilty of this too. I've done this many times in my life, and I still find myself doing it, despite my attempts to improve that part of myself, to move past my obsessive need to control my own life and to be aware of everything that's going on. It's not just about control, it's also about knowledge of what's going on around us, knowledge of ourselves, knowledge of what is within our scope of control and what isn't. Everything can be frustrating and distracting when it comes to to try to be as accepting of life's uncertainty as possible, and to embrace the fact that we are not fully in control. Try to let go, and it's one of the hardest things in life, to let go, to not try to control everything, to not worry about everything, and not feel guilty about our inability to control things, to make sure that life plays out the way we want it to. It's incredibly difficult to try to ease up and let go. But once you do so, once you make the initial effort anyway, because it's, in my experience, it's an ongoing thing. It's my nature, at least, to return to an attempt to control everything and to start the process up again if I don't keep on myself and I don't remain vigilant and remain compelled to let go, remain in that frame of mind where I'm okay with letting go. I find that it's very difficult to not return to what's essentially my natural state of being, which is trying to control everything, worrying about everything, letting things get to me if they're not completely under my control. But once you make that initial decision, that initial choice to try to take things easier and not be in control of everything, not be fully aware of everything, not try to micromanage everything, and just let life happen in the way that it is just inevitably going to play out, as far as things that are not within our scope of control are concerned, of course. Then once you make that first step, once you take that first step and try to let go, try to ease up, then things seem so much easier. And you realize that there were a lot of things that you were worrying about that are just a drain on you. They are beyond our control, and therefore, to an extent, I don't mean completely, but to an extent beyond our responsibility. And because of that, the guilt that we feel when we feel like we haven't controlled everything to the extent that we should, to the extent that we think we are capable of, when we let go of that, it is a huge relief, and it can let us focus more on the things that are within our scope of control, the things that we can control, the things we are truly responsible for, the things that are determined by our choices, the things that we can control. Those things need our full attention, and worrying about everything that is not under our control and feeling guilty about it when we fail to control the uncontrollable, that diverts attention away from the things that are within our power to change, to make the way we want them to be. And that's where we should be focusing all of our energy. And so the best way to do that is to embrace the uncertainty, even though it's incredibly difficult and painful. It feels wrong, but embracing the uncertainty will lead you to what's right, and I'll let you change things for the better that can be changed, while relinquishing some of the distress and the pain caused by things that are beyond our control, things that we don't necessarily need to beat ourselves up about, things we don't need to worry about.